win total projections in the Big 12 Conference and what these say about the Big 12's pursuit of multiple bids for the college football playoff.
You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. This episode brought to you by FanDuel. Join all the action at FanDuel.com to play daily dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer this MLB season. With the only Chris Level, I'm Casey Cowan. Chris, great to be back with you. And on this episode, we are into the numbers. We're looking at some early win projection totals across the Big 12 Conference, of course, for our Red Raiders and some others. Not only want to get into those numbers, but maybe what that says about where the Big 12 stands as it relates to larger pursuits and bids to the college football playoff. Whoops, did I say bids? Bid to the college football playoff. Let's get to the numbers first. Texas Tech sits here today 7.5 for a win total number, Chris, as we approach this season. Elsewhere in the Big 12 Conference, you got Utah 6.5, you've got BYU 6.5, 5.5, you got Houston, you've got Kansas State as well. Other interesting parties, Arizona State, both at 4.5. And we'll get some others on the schedule for Tech before we get out of here today. But what do you make of the number before we get to the bigger picture for the league? 7.5 for the Red Raiders.
Yeah, man, because 8-1, which you were last year, hits it, right. You hit the over, but I think the fascinating thing is like what you look like compared to pretty much everybody else. That's really what is like kind of take your breath away a little bit, depending on what side of the thing you're on, or like make you frustrated or go, whoa. Yeah, I mean, I think like last year, you went into a hostile environment. They were waiting for you. You had a backup quarterback, and you still almost pulled it off. But nobody else slipped up on you. Now, maybe last year was different because you were, I don't want to say like motivated or hungry. I just don't think much changes there this year because of everything that's gone on. But save for a slip up, I mean, is that an Arizona or Arizona State or a weird one like a West Virginia at home? Is that Oklahoma State's gotten a lot better and they're going to be waiting on you in mid-November, and like, could they pull off something crazy? I don't know, but I mean, you get a gimme and you still hit the over on this. If you hold serve the rest of the way. I just the closer that the season has gotten, and the more that people dig into the numbers, and the more that you do learn about what other teams have or are hiding or whatever. The one part that I think has not been focused on enough with some teams that I think are supposed to be pretty good is that I think that maybe hasn't been focused on enough around here. And you and I have talked about it, but like Utah is supposed to go do the thing, and they're ranked in the top 25 and they're this or that. I don't care who you are, replacing 5 starters on the offensive line, especially when 2 of those guys the previous year were first-round draft picks, because of the chemistry that it takes and all that comes with it, not easy to do. I think Arizona is in the replace 3 or 4 starters on the offensive line, and I think only have 4 starters back on offense. Plus, they had a bunch of schedule breaks a year ago that, again, they took advantage of it, and they won a bunch of games. But they're supposed to, I think, be this – like what's Utah's number, Cowan, on this?
6.5.
And this is conference wins. This isn't total wins on the year. Yeah. This is conference wins. So basically, you're trying to figure out, are they going to go 7-2 or 6-3 or 5-4, somewhere in that range? What is Arizona
at? 5.5.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, 4.5. 4.5.
Okay.
Both Arizona schools are at 4.5. That one kind of surprised me a little bit.
And yeah, but I think if you dig into it, because I've talked to somebody from Arizona State recently, actually multiple people, And where are their biggest concerns? And I think it's what I was talking about with Arizona, because I'm talking about Arizona State now. Because I think that people like, hey, they want to look at Kenny Dillingham, and there's some trust there. And I get it. He's earned that. But when you hear from the people that cover them, they have concerns about the trenches and what's up front on both sides of the ball. I mean, I'm like, oh, really? Really? Is that your problem? Because guess what? It ain't here. And what you've put together is a problem for everybody else. And this was intentional. You know, Arizona State, they spent a ton of money on Amarian Miller, and he's going to be really good. I've seen him as the first-round draft pick, so they could have back-to-back first-round draft picks at receiver. You know that. He may be the best receiver in the Big 12 for all we know. However, is that, I mean, and they're replacing a high draft pick at tackle as well. So I just that's my question with some of these teams is just it points to, and in this conversation, it's more about the offensive line. You bring back 3 starters, which I think is, I feel like people have glossed over that and like haven't really honed in on it.
First, today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. And baseball fans, if you think you know who's hitting a homer today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with daily dingers. Easy to play. Just make your free pick for who you think will go yard in their game. And if you're right, you're going to receive a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the Major League season. It's another great way to lock in with every day's games, whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on different players across the league. Every game has somebody that could go deep, and every day brings a new chance to find an edge and call your shot. If you're ready to play today, join all the action right now at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play daily dingers and make your free pick on whose long ball the ladies are going to be digging today. Step in the box and swing for the fences now on FanDuel, an official partner of the MLB.
Yes, you brought in a portal guy in Jordan Church, but your other guy was supposed to be a starter all along in Hunter Zambrano. Now, you're probably not going to get the credit for that, but I just don't know if people really understand what you have up front on the offensive line. It's so much of what you have on the defensive line. I'd be curious what everybody else thinks about that win total being at 7.5, because that's basically suggesting, are 2 teams going to slip up on you? Are you going to get upset twice? Because that's what it would require, because you're going to be favored in pretty much every one of these games.
When it comes to the Big 12's pursuit of multiple bids in the college football playoff, this kind of give you another indication that it's a long road to hoe, to borrow a phrase.
And I've seen that. I've seen that listed from one of the odds makers just recently. They've set the over-under on Big 12 teams making it at 1.5, which I think is probably about right. That's the problem, though, that's where the number is at. It's like the ACC and the Big 12 are at 1.5, and the Big 10 and the SEC are set at 3.5. This is the whole problem, folks. This is the kind of league you're in. It is what it is. And at this point, I'd take the under on that based on past history. Maybe you sneak up and maybe Texas Tech is the team that trips the wire. If you have a good enough regular season and you barely lose the conference championship game or something, it's going to require something goofy like that.
I think it kind of depends on the team in question too, who's number 2 on the list, because BYU is such a huge non-conference opportunity.
Yes.
With Notre Dame right about smack dab in the middle of everything. That could change the dynamic, I guess, a little. If I just wanted to take the BYU resume of the past 2 years, what they've wound up with the college football playoff and being left out, probably the first one out, I guess, is the way that I would look at it. If I added a Notre Dame non-conference win to that kind of resume, I wonder if maybe coming up short in the Big 12 title game would still land you in the college football playoff. Maybe that could change it. I know that's not an apples to apples comparison. Obviously, it's a new year, but there's kind of that interesting aspect for BYU alone in that they've got this massive opportunity in the non-conference to maybe shake up, even as a non-conference champion, an entry into the college football playoff. I'm just spitballing here, Chris, but it's possible because you can't really think of a bigger opportunity than as far as resume building than having Notre Dame on a non-conference schedule.
Yeah, I mean, they just most everybody else doesn't have. I mean, Arizona State's got A&M. That's a big one. But I think Utah has Arkansas, but Arkansas has not been very good at all. But yeah, you're right. It's kind of I don't want to say the holy grail, pun intended.
It's like Tech has not afforded that margin.
No.
I mean, they couldn't be a second one that would slip in
because
you don't have that. Maybe there's some others, but
you would have to. It would require you having that margin of victory, like into the spectrum on your resume, like you did last year, to where you just basically embarrass the league. And then okay, you weren't perfect, but you were on the road with a backup quarterback, technically, and you almost pulled that one off. It took a miracle finish by the Sun Devils to get that one done. So but you better hit the over on this number is what I would suggest. If you want to get to where you want to go, you need to hit the over, especially if, like, say, for example, if one of the teams that slips up on you is Houston, okay, and I don't think they would slip up on you, but if they better you that day, very early on in the season, that's just going to be a big tiebreaker game for those two teams.
Yeah,
you're looking uphill, like, with almost no margin for error the rest of the way. If you're the loser of that game, doesn't mean you can't get to where you want to go. You just aren't really afforded much luxury there. So my suggestion is, like, I would take the over here because that's probably what it's going to require. And I think that everybody in Lubbock probably understands that.
Saucy to think about, but the Red Raiders walk in a high wire of sorts. Otherwise, if you think about somebody with a big non-conference opportunity, could they be the kind of team that possibly could not win the league yet still find a way to sneak into a college football playoff if they have an amazing run paired with a non-conference win? I don't know. Obviously, this is all uphill kind of conversation if you're thinking about the Big 12 getting more than one bid to the college football playoff. The easiest thing for Texas Tech, win the whole damn thing, win everything, and then we'll be there again. We know that. Chris, I know I'll be back with you before we wrap up this week, so looking forward to plenty more still to come. We're going to be diving into a mailbag. We're getting ready for a scrimmage, first one of fall camp coming up this weekend as well, so we'll get into some position battles I want to discuss with you, so looking forward to all of the above.
I got one more for you. BYU is what number on that list?
6.5.
Yeah. Okay, and that seems, very attainable. However, bizarre goings on up there in Provo these days. Doesn't appear that everybody's on the same page. We're having coaches say, hey, you're going to have to ask my agent about that, or my agent will deal with that. We've got, I don't know, it's weird, some of the Kalani Sitake stuff. We touched on this the other day, but it's even gotten weirder in the days following. So, yeah, I don't know if that has any effect on their team, but it's got the fans all, like, trying to figure out, whose side do I need to be on here? The AD side, the coach's side? Are we being told the truth? What's going on? We're not supporting these guys. Meanwhile, their basketball program's about that a big time transfer, which may be part of the problem too. So I don't know, but yeah, keep an eye on that as it relates to that BYU number and their season totals and all those kinds of things, because we were obviously talking about them in Notre Dame, but they still have to try to get back to Arlington as well.
And get subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts so you never miss an episode. And if you never miss an episode, you're what the Everydayer Club is built for. So get your everyday Locked On Texas Tech fix ad-free, plus members-only network Discord access and more. It's linked in our show notes, and you can start a free trial today. Also linked in the show notes, a free 14-day trial to try on the Matador Mob, your direct line to Chris and myself with one-on-one text sent straight to your phone. For those of you watching via video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. If you're listening via podcast, make sure you make your second listen Locked On College Football. For Chris, I'm Casey. Thanks as always for the time. We hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.